So the only problem with playing with your new camera before you know what all of the settings are is when you're moving all the dials around to try to capture really good images and then you go through them later when you're on your computer, you cannot remember what the dials were set at when you were taking the photo. Yep, that's happening to me. This is Sandi Maki, and it's time for a little bit of heavy breathing just before midnight. So I've been saying that I wanted a new camera for a while now. And for some reason, I just couldn't justify it. What did I need with a good professional digital SLR camera? I know everybody said that you'll love it when you get it. It'll take amazing images. You can't muck it up. You can't screw it up. And yet, not being a professional photographer or, anything like that, I just couldn't justify it. Well, the business has been talking about getting one for a while. And the final straw was when I was at my brother's wedding. And I looked at how my pictures turned out with my point and shoot, which I'm usually pretty happy with. And then I looked at how my brother's turned out with his digital SLR camera, and that was it. I had to go get one. So I did. And it came with a handy dandy instruction video, which I watched. And apparently, the class that I had in high school is just not all coming back to me. I'm having fun though. My son and I went down to the lake today and I was taking some pictures and then he gave it a try. I think some of his turned out pretty well too. As I was looking through the pictures, I am just astounded at how quickly kids grow up. And my son, who I remember as just a newborn baby and a toddler and everything in between, is now, 13 years old and almost taller than I am. Go figure that one out. As I was flipping through the photos that we took today, I was noticing him in his winter coat, which it's a little brisk outside. I wouldn't say it's time for a winter coat yet, but he was wearing this coat when we were out at the water. And I remember when he got the coat, I wasn't convinced that it was the right one for him. I thought maybe he'd want to get something that didn't have the color orange in it. But of course, that would be my preference, not his. So I was looking at the pictures and I was thinking that, he's a great looking kid and he looks so comfortable in that. And somehow my baggage of the colors that I like and don't like were going to affect the way that he bought his coat. So that got me to thinking about something that a friend of mine shared on Facebook, and I want to share a little bit of it with you here. So what she had shared was on her daughter's, it wasn't necessarily first day of school, but this fellow mother, much like me, likes to make sure that her children are well put together. So she buys her clothes that she thinks would make a difference in her life based on what she may have wanted growing up. And she shares how she was trying to push her values of popularity on her daughter through these clothes that she was having her try to have her wear. She was putting them in her dresser and her daughter just wasn't choosing them. So her daughter one morning came out dressed for school in a plaid skirt, black leggings, and knee-high socks. And her mom almost told her that she has other socks that she could wear. But it just so happened that that morning she had been reading a blog post from an amazing woman, and she realized that her daughter was a lot like this person, having her own sense of style, her own sense of taste, and her own eclectic relationship with clothing. So she smiled and she let her daughter wear exactly what her daughter wanted to school. And she says it was in that moment that she realized that there's never been anything that she needed to work on in terms of image or clothing or anything else. But she herself had carried a little baggage based on her childhood memories and the way that she felt. So it was in that moment that she could let go her attachment to making sure that her child dressed in a certain way and allowed her child to be herself. Not unlike me and this wonderful orange coat, I would not wear the color orange. It just doesn't go well with my style, I guess. But it fits perfectly for my son. And yet, when given those choices, I know that sometimes I allow my baggage to cloud what's going on. Just like when we went down to the lake to take some pictures and I asked him to smile, which he did. Then he started goofing around. And then he started climbing on the tree. Because, hey, he's a 13-year-old boy, and isn't that what 13-year-old boys do? So instead of trying to pose every picture perfectly, I just continued snapping pictures, and whatever he was doing was captured. So I have some of him climbing, some of him jumping. They're all in this lovely orange coat. And when I look at these pictures, when he's older, I sure will appreciate the moment of learning how to use my camera and of looking at them later, appreciating my son and his individual style and his desire to be in this lovely orange coat. Until next time, this is Sandy with a little heavy breathing just before midnight.